Welcome to this episode of End of Life Conversations. I'm Reverend Wakil David Matthews.
And I'm the Reverend Mother, Ana Luisa Armendariz. In this podcast, we share people's experiences with death and dying, grief and loss, and the end of life.
Every episode, we are so honored and blessed to share stories with amazing, compassionate, and wise guests. So let's get started. Well, welcome, friends. We're glad to have you here with this episode. We're really looking forward to talking to Adam Zuckerman. He is the founder of Buried in Work, a leading e-commerce platform specializing in estate planning and organization, end-of-life tasks, and estate transitions. With a deeply personal motivation stemming from his experience managing his father's estate, Adam is dedicated to simplifying these complex processes for individuals and families nationwide. And wow, what an important thing to be doing. Thank you, Adam.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And also, as an Eisenhower Fellow, an attorney, and MBA, Adam brings a wealth of expertise to his role, combining legal knowledge with entrepreneurial vision to drive innovation in the field of estate planning. Adam's mission is to empower individuals of all ages to navigate the intricacies of estate planning with confidence and ease. Through Buried in Work, he seeks to revolutionize the way people approach end-of-life preparations, ensuring that everyone has access to the resources they need to secure their legacy and protect their loved ones. Wowzas. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, wow. I need to just take you two with me everywhere I go. That was the nicest introduction I've ever had. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it was very appreciated. I do a class on preparation for end of life, and I think I might be calling you to ask if you'd like to participate, because one of the things that comes up a lot is people asking me questions about estate planning, and I'm like, I'm not an attorney, but I would love to have somebody who's an expert actually participate. If you're ever interested, I think that'd be great, and it's such important stuff. So thank you for being on our show and giving us your wisdom, sharing your wisdom with us today. We always like to start with a question about, when did you first become aware of death?
To be clear, I am an attorney. I have an MBA. I'm barred, but I don't hold myself out to be an actively practicing estate planning attorney, which is a little bit of a nuance. And the reason why is that Buried in Work has offerings and resources that are applicable for anybody in the country. In fact, beyond the country's borders. And we don't want to run afoul of providing legal services to individuals where we're not barred. So what we're doing is we are simplifying estate organization and giving people the tools and resources that they need, that in the event that they connect with a service provider like a lawyer in their local jurisdiction, then they are better prepared to have a positive engagement. There's a lot more to it, but that journey started,
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that clarification. That's important. Thank you.
Yeah. So the journey started in this realm after my dad got sick unexpectedly. He had leukemia for about 6.5 years. First time he was diagnosed, I actually donated bone marrow to him. The second time he was diagnosed, they put him into remission. And the third time he was diagnosed, it was shortly after he was at my house doing woodworking in the basement with me. And he walks up the stairs and he goes, "Adam, I'm tired." And when you say I'm tired, when I say I'm tired, typically that means we need to go and take a nap. We've been out doing something or exerting ourselves. When he says it, because of the leukemia, it means I have to go to the doctor. So he goes to the doctor's office, the hospital actually, and has a test, and they tell him to come to the hospital on Thursday to check in. And unfortunately, 12 days later, he passes away, which was unbelievably quick.
Wow.
And on the one hand, we knew that there was always a possibility that the cancer would catch up with him. But after 6.5 years of the doctors always found something, they always found a solution, it came as a surprise. So we thought he was organized. He wasn't nearly as organized as we hoped. I hopped in to help my mom with her estate transition, the estate transition of my father. And when I showed my mother's financial advisor, what I had put together in terms of tracking everything that I had done, at the end of the conversation, she said, "Adam, this is the most comprehensive transition I've ever seen in my life, and you have to give it away to other people." So on the one hand, if you have that devil and the angel on your shoulder, the devil's going, she's lying to you. She just doesn't want you to move her mom's money. And the angel's on my shoulder going, well, you're an attorney. You've got the organization background. you did put together some pretty comprehensive notes. Maybe you should ask a few people. So we asked a few people. Everybody said, like literally everybody said, we need these resources online. You know how to make websites. Go build a website. I'm a technologist too. And after we built a small website that I thought would just be a few resources to help a few people, in 1 week, we had over 10,000 page views.
What? Wow.
Yeah. That launched Buried in Work. And from there, the resources and the products and the offerings that we have for both individuals and companies alike have expanded significantly. And the rest is history. Here we are.
Yeah. Wow.
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 So cool. So important.
It's so important. And usually I would ask this, how does death impact your story? But it's just woven in completely together right now with what you just shared. So, the story begins with your father, and it easily wove into what you did for him as he passed away, or when he passed away.
It's funny. There's so much of an impact that death has had in the story. It's not just, oh, you started a company that deals with this industry, but rather the camera that we have right now, and this is an audio podcast, but the camera that we're seeing each other as we speak is my father's camera that I inherited. Every day it is constant reminders, and I think that it's somewhat cathartic in a lot of ways. For many people, when somebody passes away, they try and not remember every single day. But for me, it is literally from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, there's always that constant reminder. Maybe that's really good for the soul, good for the ethos. Maybe it causes some challenges. But that's probably a conversation for another podcast.
That's definitely part of this podcast for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think it really is. I'm glad that you said that, because I think we often talk to people who are dealing with loss and who want to know, who want to hear. I think often they just want to hear what those people meant to other, if you go to somebody and say, I'm sorry for your loss, and, you'll see them in another world or something, that's not nearly as effective as, I'm sorry for your loss. I remember when that person took me out for a walk and what a beautiful person she was, or whatever. And, just that remembering the things about them and having those memories and those
connections,
physical things around you. Yeah. Those connections that remind us that they never leave, that they're still always going to be a part of us. So that's really, really, thank you for sharing that. Tell us a little more about how your work, what your role is, what your work is right now, and how it works for people.
One of the things that my father taught me, my mother taught me this as well, is always try and give back, help other people. And Buried in Work, in a strange way, is something that is very reminiscent about how my father would have approached things. My best friend growing up, who knew my father well, told me once after I started Buried in Work that there was nothing that would have made my father happier or prouder than starting a company to help people that makes money off of his death. And that's really exactly that's what we're doing. Wow. So I'll chat a little bit about some of the resources and how we approach things differently than other organizations. And there's a lot of companies out there that help with estate planning and organization and different things, but fortunately we've taken a little bit of a different tact. Primarily the first reason why is that when people think about estate planning, they oftentimes think immediately of a will or a trust. And those are undoubtedly foundational elements of an estate plan if you need one. But we believe that comprehensive estate planning goes far beyond just having a will or having a trust if you need it. It's having the advanced directives in place so in the event that you're not able to advocate for yourself, somebody else can.
Yay!
It's having all of the information organized so in the event something happens, your family doesn't have to scramble in the worst time possible. And what I mean by that is having information about your family members, even your pets, who needs to be contacted in case something happens to you, your citizenship information, your career and education history, your residential history, your email and online accounts that goes into your digital legacy, financial assets and liabilities, your business information, your insurance information, tax returns, health and medical. I can go on and on and on. And the reason why is because the average estate takes 570 hours to administer in the United States. which I don't know about you two, but I don't have 570 hours just laying.
Wow.
And a lot of that is because family members have to go on the scavenger hunt for this information. So what we're doing is creating resources, free checklists, free guides, free articles. We have over 1,700 articles on the site now. We have 30 plus guides or 30 plus checklists, nearly 15 guides from end-of-life funeral traditions, from LGBTQ plus to Hindu to Christian, Jewish, Muslim, secular, you name it. Wow. We have templates that people can download for free. So if you need a HIPAA authorization form, or you need a letter template to notify a bank that somebody passed away, we're going to save you time there. We have a checklist that is very popular, the 56 steps to take after somebody passes away that you're probably not aware of unless you've gone through it. And we have products as well. One is called the Estate Preparation Package. That takes all the information that I just talked about, including more, and not only helps you organize it, but then tells you what to do with that information. And my favorite product that we have, the favorite thing, it's called One More Story. And it comes out of an experience with my father again. We were sitting in his hospital room and we were telling jokes. And we were telling stories. Dad, tell me one more story about when you were a kid. Tell me one more story about this. How do you wish your legacy is remembered? Things like that. Because after he passes away and we knew something where it was going to happen, we knew the stories are gone forever. They're either told and remembered by someone or they're gone. So we took those questions and we made a card game out of it. So 126 prompts, 6 categories. It's called One More Story. And then we did a corollary to that that's based on the estate preparation package called Nothing Left Unsaid, where it asks people, do you have a will? Do you have a trust? Where are they? How do you feel about palliative care? Here are definitions you should know. That just helps everybody get together. So a long answer to a short question that's just touching the surface of what Buried in Work is doing to help people organize their information a little bit better.
Wow, that is so important. Yeah.
Wow. I know.
I just found my new resource for my class. I do a class, end of life planning class, right? And we touch on a lot of the things you talked about. And probably, but I'm always looking for resources for people to be able to go online and get information. And I have a Google Doc that I keep adding to, right? So that people who've gone to the class can look at the Google Doc 6 months later and it'll have been updated with new stuff. So definitely going on the top of the list of resources, because it really, everything you said is covered, but I'm sure there's maybe things we aren't catching. And just having that a place to go like that to be able to, I just ordered my Knockbox, you know about Knockbox?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was starting to gather up everything. I don't know if Louise had told you, but my wife has a terminal illness right now. And so we're having to go through, after all of this work for years and years of doing this work. And now I'm getting to go through, having the chance, if you will, to go through the checklist myself, right? And to really think about it. And so I started realizing, even as much as I've thought about this and talked about it, I told my kids there was going to be a widow, WIDOH file, when I die, open here. and I kind of have been putting that together, but now to be in this place where I really do have to have this organized. I just finally spent the money on a Knockbox because it's a great way to organize stuff. But but great. I thank you for.
That's very much what the estate preparation package does. Also, is it's that on steroids, effectively. We met with a company that provides nearly a third, or actually more than a third, of all the caskets in America, and they said our approach is the most comprehensive approach in the country, which is pretty neat too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So if there's anything we can do to give you,
I can't wait. I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah. if
I'll be checking you out.
If there's anything that we can do to support your classes, we have resources we're happy to give. We white label and co-brand with companies and nonprofits. We're working with hospice companies and several other different verticals, because the reality is, death and taxes, it impacts everybody. It's really neat to see all the different people hitting the website. We've got analytics that you can actually watch people as they're on the site. This person just went here and there and there. This is where they are in their stage. And right now we have 19 active users on the site from San Diego, Utah, Colorado, North Dakota, Missouri, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, like all over. And it's because this topic is something that literally impacts everybody.
Yes.
And we have to get ahead of it.
Yeah. And, I mean, the reason we have this podcast is because we really feel the passion about sharing and getting people to talk about it, getting people to, because it is a taboo in many cultures or many parts of our Western culture anyway, not in most other cultures it's not, but in our United States mostly, especially, a lot of people don't want to talk about it. And to have the opportunity to meet people like you who are doing this work is just so fulfilling, and we just really appreciate it. So
thank you.
Yeah.
It is. So, Adam.
Yes.
What are the challenges that you find about getting this resource out to people?
Oh, gosh. The issue is that everybody's unique, just like everybody else. And what I mean by that is it is very rare that your situation is going to emulate to a T someone else's situation. So it's helping people understand that it's a process that while other people have gone through it, it's going to be different for you because how you experience it is going to be different, both emotional and in process. And then helping them find the right resources. We're actually going through a massive update on our site right now, creating an entirely new user interface that will help people search for the information that they need even more effectively. The other thing is that a lot of people think that they don't need to have an estate plan because they're not wealthy. Estate planning is for the rich. Right?
Yeah.
And they have this vision of somebody passing away and an attorney walks into a room that's smoke filled with mahogany, shelving and leather chairs, and they have the reading of the will. But that's just not how it typically happens outside of the movies.
Right.
And people need to understand that even if you don't have an estate plan that you've drafted, you actually do have an estate plan because the state that you live in has a process interstate that says this is what happens to somebody's estate in the event that they don't have a will. So in the event that you want to take control of your situation, you really should start taking small steps to get organized, to get those documents in place. Because the last time you want to do it is when it's too late for a variety of different reasons.
Yeah. So true. How do you address those challenges? I mean, you said you've got this incredible website and it's being updated. And I also wonder about challenges personally. I mean, do you feel like you are challenged with, like frustrations or despair or whatever, the kind of things that come up in this work, right?
Yeah. So what I didn't expect was that I would get phone calls and emails on a never-ending continual basis of people. And some people are upset that something happened. Some people are upset that something is happening, but other people are reaching out with ideas. We have a section on the website that we created after someone called us up and said, I'm in the hospital. My mom fell and hit her head. I'm in the emergency room and I can't help but overhear the person sitting next to me. They're upset that they need to shut down all these accounts for the person that they're here to see, but they can't get through to the company. They don't know how to do it. So we created a resource that has nearly 100 companies. We reached out to all the CEOs and they put us in contact with people that says, if you need to shut down an account with Amazon, here are the steps that you need to take. And it is overwhelming because there are so many questions like that could lead to new products. But as an entrepreneur, as an individual that has to decide, I'm going to focus time in this versus that, you can't tackle everything. And my challenge is that I want to create all of the resources to help as many people as possible. And you can't. So we're focusing on creating a lot of resources that have maximum impact for a lot of people. And we start branching out from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That's a unique challenge, and one that there's probably not a good answer to, but like you said, kind of like, I guess the answer is acceptance and doing everything you can.
But there's a middle ground. Like we have the estate preparation package that we've talked a little bit about. And I realized that a lot of people are afraid of starting. It is complicated. they see a price tag of a few $100s and they're like, oh, I can't do this right now. I'll do this later. There's more time. I can go buy groceries. But yet people are reaching out with questions. So we just released a free 3-page document that says, if you have nothing else, have this figured out. Do you have a will? Where is it? Do you have a trust? Where is it? Where are your assets? Where are your bank accounts? All of the really important questions. And you can come to the website and download that for free. And we are finding that middle ground of how can we help as many people as possible, but also create a company that is self-sustaining with revenue. And, some people say we should be a nonprofit. Who knows?
Yeah. We were just talking about that today, Ana Luisa and I, about how do we, in this world of where finances, you have to have finances to exist. That's the culture we're in. And how do we do that when we're passionate about this and want to help people and want to care for people and want to do it? We'd do it for nothing if we could get away with it, but we can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. That's really good. Really important.
So yes, and so Adam, you're busy. I before we got our conversation going, you said you've been working like nonstop for a week, hardly getting outside.
Yeah.
But how do you find yourself? How do you nurture yourself? How do you support yourself when this just gets a little too much for you?
It's rare that I get overwhelmed from it being too much. I have had a very interesting career with some very high pressure situations. Like literally, I used to sell clean energy to prime ministers and ministers of energy around the world, flying from one continent to the other for a meeting overnight. I have never been so energized in my life because we are having such a positive impact on many people. My challenge is making time to say, I'm going to go walk the dog. I'm going to go for a bike ride. I'm going to hang out with my wife more. I'm going to call friends more. I'm going to do this, do that, because every bit of progress that we make doesn't help just one person. It's scalable to help a lot of people. So that's my biggest challenge. I love biking. I like mountain biking. I like hiking. I love camping. I love food, and food without the exercise is definitely something that, cause problems for a lot of people. So it's all of that. There's a balance. If we want to get a little bit spiritual in a weird way, I believe that we are effectively recycled stardust, meat popsicles on a big rock that's floating through space that is going hundreds of thousands of miles an hour when you take into account, this trajectory of the planet and the solar system, yada, yada, yada. And if you think of it that way, without thinking about religion per se, because that's a much bigger conversation, the question of legacy then goes like, what is legacy? Because if we're really just, stardust, do you actually have legacy? And my opinion is that I'm not going to be remembered in 300 years, nor do I care if I am. There are very few people that will be. So what are you doing? And my legacy is I want to leave the world a better place and have a great time doing that. And it's a challenge for me. I need to make more time to step away from buried and work to spend more time with people that I love. So,
yeah, that's great. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, we love weird spirituality. So anytime you want to, absolutely bring it on.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's par for course.
Yeah, no, that's great. I really, I love that picture. It reminds me of the Monty Python song. You're standing on it. Remember that you're standing on a planet that's evolving and revolving at 10,000 miles an hour.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And that's really, I love the idea too of the legacy being what you're doing now. It's not like we're going to, nobody, like you said, very few people are going to be remembered, but what we do each day and our intention that we set each day to create a better world is really the legacy that we have. So thank you for that. Is there anything that really frightened you about the end of life?
Missed opportunity. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love new things. I love travel. I've been to nearly 40 countries in the world. I'm very fortunate to have done that. And I think that without the knowledge of if there is another afterlife or if there is another chance, that when it ends, it ends. And that's unfortunate because I want to have more experiences. I think it's a little bit strange when people talk about reincarnation if you look at it from like a scientific perspective, because reincarnation is always on Earth, right? Why aren't you reincarnated as a floof on a planet Flarg if that exists? Right? It's a very
I'm with you, Adam.
Right? It's a very us-centric view and people-centric view. It's like, oh, I used to be a so-and-so in my past life. So you assume that you were a human on Earth? Like, are ghosts, beholden to gravity then? There's so many things.
Yeah.
And I love that opportunity to learn and experience. And I think that's what is the most frightening, is that you might not have that opportunity anymore.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
You might. I always tell my kids, I'm like, I can't wait to like go to the other side because I'm going to be exploring the universe.
Yeah.
Like the universes, the galaxies, the star, everything. I'm like so excited to go there.
Yeah, it's really possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
Oh, I love it. So, Wakil, what do you think? Like, how would you support your fear of missing out, of FOMO?
Yeah, your FOMO. That's one question, but you kind of talked about it a little bit. And I don't know, is there anything else you'd like to say about how you deal with that fear? You just like getting up every day doing the work. It sounds like the legacy idea, but is there anything else in reflecting about that?
Yeah, I think that's it. And I try and unplug sometimes. I've got some friends that are much better at it than I am. I think that there's probably a trajectory in life where when you pass certain milestones, it goes from I want to be out all the time, I want to have as many friends as possible, as many connections as possible, and then more connections that are very close and meaningful. And I'm probably in one of the phases where I'm spending time with people that are very important in my life, family, friends. And I also think it's more difficult in social media times and the times that we live in now to make connections as you grow older that are meaningful, because we live in that constant endless scroll, swipe what's next. And I grew up in a time period, listeners that can't see me, I'm in my mid 40s, where I was that 3-year generation when I was born that then had the opportunity to have the freedom to go outside and meet people, and also became a digital native. And it is very different for people that were in their adult stages of life when technology came to be versus their growing up stages of life with technology. And I have very firm roots in both sides of that. And I miss a lot of what it used to be, while I'm also a huge fan of technology and love to see all of the different advancements of where it's taking us. So maybe that's something to think about too. How can we get back to our childhood more?
Yeah, I'm also, even though I'm quite a bit older, I was in technology for my career. So one of in my generation, fewer people that are, love technology and play with it. I've also, though, really been thinking a lot about lately how we can be more responsible with our technology and how we can think better about how it, the Daniel Schmachtenberg, one of my favorite speakers lately, talks about being more aware of the externalities of the things we create in our social media and in our, and what happens and how we can think about that and develop things that are actually creating a better world, creating a more connected world instead of the way it is now, which creates division and corporate more money and, and is all about making money and it's all about dividing us. If we could find a way to use that same technology, which we absolutely could, the algorithms and et cetera, to create more connection. So I really appreciate you bringing that up, because the love of technology and the hope that we can do better using that technology.
Technology isn't good or bad. Technology just is. It's how it's implemented. It's how it's used.
Yeah.
And that's a personal thing until we give sentient capability to computers on their own right. But technology, we have international travel on jets because countries went to war. So
Yeah.
Would we have developed that technology without it? I don't know.
Yeah. And we were able to do this, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and
we wouldn't have this conversation without it.
Yeah.
Right.
GPS, and people go, oh, I don't use AI. If you use Google Maps, you use AI.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. It's integrated into our lives, whether we know it or accept it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the thing you're doing with your website, just such a great use of technology and such something that couldn't be done without it. So we are blessed, and we have to be aware of, how it's used. So yeah, so we usually end with, what do you wish we had asked you? Anything that you would love to talk about?
I think that we covered a lot, and the easy low-hanging fruit is how do people find us, which is buriedinwork.com, a little bit of a punny name. So buriedinwork.com. We have a lot of resources that we didn't even touch the surface of, from service provider directories, a whole host of other things. I'd love for people to come to the website, check things out, send us a note. What do you like? What don't you like? What resources were helpful for you? It is not just me that's working on it. There are a lot of people involved, and we have only gotten to where we are with the help of other people. And if individuals that have gone through similar processes or have ideas want to reach out, I'd love to hear from them.
Great. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we'll definitely,
Yes.
we'll have that in the podcast notes and link to that. And we're going to get to look at it earlier because I've been blessed with a lot of people, and you're probably looking at October before this gets aired, but that's, we'll get to check it out earlier. And I'll certainly be referring it to my classmates or my students when I talk about it on my class. So definitely thank you for doing that and for being such an important part of the infrastructure of end of life.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And so we usually have a poem at the end. Did you pick a poem for us?
I didn't. Actually, yes, I do. I did. Sorry, my mind went blank. This poem is from Henry Scott Holland. It is called Death is Nothing at All. So, death is nothing at all. I've only slipped away to the next room. I am, I end, you are you. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak to me in the easy way, which you always used to. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air or solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the jokes we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me. Pray for me. Let my name be ever in the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effect, without the trace of a shadow on it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same that it ever was. There is absolute, unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of mind? Because I'm out of sight. I am but waiting for you for an interval, somewhere, very near, just around the corner. All is well.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you
Very
so
nice.
much.
Appreciate that very much. And thank you for all you do. And we are looking forward to continuing to work together in whatever ways we can.
Me too. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for joining us on the End of Life Conversations. We appreciate you and look forward to sharing our stories. Thanks to my daughter Lucero and Nico Rush, who have cheerfully assisted us as our editors and tech support. Additional resources, transcript of this episode, and links to our social media will be in the podcast notes.
Yeah, thank you so much. And please subscribe, tell your friends, follow us on social media, and consider supporting us through Patreon. We want to acknowledge that the music we are using was composed and produced by Charles Heastand.